This is the Heroes Podcast. It's good to be back. I'm so happy because I have Baba Sam today. How are you?
I'm doing well. So thanks for having me on this show, Andre.
Thanks for joining. I really appreciate your story as much as I know, but I'll learn more. But before we go into this miraculous story, I wanted to intro you so everyone knows right in the beginning who we are meeting here today. So Baba Sam Shelley, known as the Miracle Man. After suffering for 30 years with multiple sclerosis, bipolar disorder, migraines, various other incurable chronic illnesses and diseases, he became fed up. That's a good one. With being sick and tired. And he discovered the path to inner peace, to which has led him to miraculous and spontaneous healings. I think a lot of people would really need that today. But today he is free from disease and disability. But how interesting, I'm guessing you are a lot more freer in your life, areas of life as well. Well, did you want to take us back to the beginning or maybe the hardest parts of your journey? You can pick challenges. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably best to just talk from the beginning because it was where all my health ill challenges started from this one particular date. I was 6 years old and I was run over by a van. So that created a lot of head trauma, broken hip, broken elbow. I was in the hospital for nearly a year at age 6. So I had all these injuries, but what they later did back then they don't know what they know now of the injuries, what young childhood injuries. So that can lead into bipolar. They found the direct correlation between earlyhood trauma like this into bipolar. So I went through, young life as a bipolar. I had all these mental difficulties and challenges. My moods were all over the place. It was a really difficult time, but there really was no help coming for me. So it was just really just struggling, lots of struggle. And it wasn't until my 20s when I was suicidal, when I finally got the diagnosis that I was bipolar. Then after the bipolar, I also had chronic migraines at that time. I was really stressed, overwhelmed with life, and just a lot of difficulties. Then from all that stress, all the overwhelm, I also had psoriasis. Then the psoriasis got into my joints, which was psoriatic arthritis. Then if we keep going down this path, by the time I was 37, I had the worst migraine of my life. My whole left side of the body was numb. Within a few days, I could not walk. I was quickly admitted into the hospital. After 2, 3 weeks of testing, they determined it was multiple sclerosis. So I lost the ability to walk at age 37. So by the time I'm 40, I'm dealing with all these challenges, bipolar, migraine, psoriasis, arthritis, multiple sclerosis. It was really difficult times. And I was always in this mental programming, this mental story that I was incurable, that this was my lot in life, that I couldn't get it any better, that this was it. My life with a cane, taking 13 medications, having a team of 7 doctors. This was my reality, was having all of this, and I didn't know of any other way out. That was it. I wasn't in the spiritual space or anything of that nature. I was typically trapped in the medical system, you could say.
Wow. And you said that was this accident, 6 years old, and then 8 years. Did you say 8 years you were attending hospital or treatments?
No,
Like,
no, I was in the hospital. Well, I was in the hospital for a year at the accident. And then I had some later hospitalizations as a bipolar when I was suicidal.
well, I'm wondering how you are still alive with. Well, I did take notes because I wanted to share that, hey, if you're listening to us, you have a chance. Like, if Baba Sam came back from that, I mean, this is the other side already. Then what has been happening? Like, I'm always curious that it looks like your life was going downhill to a point of, I don't know where would have been the point of no return, but what has started to shift these impossible health challenges?
Yeah, so at this point, my health was really in decline. At this point in my life, about 7 years after the initial diagnosis with multiple sclerosis, at this time was considered relapsing remitting. Like you have good times, bad times, good time, bad times. That's relapsing remitting. Well, I was starting to morph into secondary progressive, where it's a constant, continuous decline. So at that point, you do get to the point of no return when you end up in the wheelchair, really in a difficult situation. So like I said, I was never a spiritual person, but however, with multiple sclerosis, one of the things that it does, because it affects the myelin sheath around the nerves, is basically what MS is in the brain and spinal column. So basically, as this myelin sheath wears away, it feels like you're getting short circuits in the body. So you get muscle spasms, you get cramps, your balance gets very poor. Your sight isn't so great. You have all these challenges and issues. So I was chronically fatigued with MS. So I was a couch potato, and I would watch anything and everything on TV. Well, one of the things I used to watch was ghost hunting shows, but I never knew if ghost hunts were real or fake. It was TV, it could be scripted. I had no idea. So I'm watching this ghost hunting show. Then later, so this show, one of the people on the show put out a tweet saying, "Hey, we're having this event in Philadelphia." It's like, oh, okay, Philadelphia. I can drive myself there, not too far away. I'll get a hotel room because the fatigue is horrible. So I can stay for a little bit and just see if this is real or fake, just see if there's anything there. So I did my research before I went there. It was a really famous place in Philadelphia for a ghost hunt called Fort Mifflin. So I did my research on a place called Fort Mifflin, and because I could only stay for a little bit because I was dealing with, it was in the summertime, I was dealing with MS. The heat and MS, neurological diseases, is a disaster. So I'd have a cooling vest on. That would last me for about an hour. So here I go to to this ghost hunt. I have my cooling vest on, I have my cane, and I'm going into the area called the casemates. So initially it was kind of boring. Nothing was really happening. Then eventually, things started to change a little bit. Somebody pulled their flashlight and they were asking questions, and the flashlight was going on and off based on those questions. But I was saying, well, that's their flashlight. It's not my flashlight. So I put out my flashlight and was doing the same thing. Well, I thought it was kind of interesting. But then right after that, I was sitting on this bench. Then I felt somebody sitting right next to me that I could not see. So somebody sat next to me, and when they sat down, I just felt this overwhelming sense of dread come over me. So this area in Fort Mifflin was the casemates. That's where they housed the Civil War prisoners. So after this experience, I was really curious. So for some people, they was like, well, that was a fun experience, ghosts are real, and left it at that. But I was curious. What did I experience? What did I just witness here? What's going on here? There are really ghosts. So that was the spark for me that really changed my life in a different direction, was going on a ghost hunt. I sometimes share stories that ghost hunting saved my life because it really did. I had an experience that made no logical sense to my mind. So I was like, all right, there are ghosts. So who talks to ghosts? Mediums. So I read a book from a medium, but I was reading very slowly because my eyesight was poor. I could only read for about maybe 10 minutes a day before I would get a migraine or anything like that. So it was really slow going through this book. I'm not sure which medium book talked about it because I read a few, but one of the books that I read talked about meditation. And one of the benefits, they only had 2 pages on meditation, on how they use meditation to get into their space. So they were talking about some of the benefits of meditation. I don't remember what they were, but one of the benefits was inner peace. I'm like, oh, I need inner peace. But there was really no instructions. So I was under this impression that meditation equals inner peace, that you stop thinking. So so I'm just, so basically the whole practice was to sit comfortably and to relax and create a nice environment. That was basically it, which was really good because I was dealing with a bipolar OCD brain. If you told me the instructions to meditation, sitting right, holding your hands right, breathing right, I would have never gotten out of the mind. I would have been like, am I doing this right? the OCD would have taken over. Am I doing this right? And that was very good. So, well, I was already in the impression that meditation means you stop thinking. So I'm sitting there. I found a piece of music that was 5 minutes long, like some kind of really just relaxation music. That was my timer for 5 minutes. So I was playing that in the background. So that was my timer. So the mind would start thinking and be like, stop thinking, mind thinking, stop thinking, mind thinking, stop thinking. So this went on for about 4 days. I guess I did this for about 4 days of, you know, mind thinking, stop thinking. Then I had this realization, this huge realizations like, wait a second, wait a second. If I'm aware of my thoughts, I'm not my thoughts. If I'm not my thoughts, who am I? This is a huge realization because at this time, I was my thoughts. So when I was suicidal in my 20s, you're not good enough, life is too difficult. I took that as my truth and nearly killed myself twice because of that voice, because I thought I was that mental voice. So having that realization I wasn't my thoughts was huge. And it's even disappointing when I think back of that. I was seeing this psychiatrist for, I don't know, 17, 18 years. And when I was in this really deep state, or even through the whole journey with him, he never once said to me, why are your thoughts true? He never asked that simple question. Why are your thoughts true? When I realized my thoughts weren't true, that was a game changer for me. So then sitting there, now when I was sitting there and the mind would start thinking, I would come back to where are my feet? Where are my hands? Where am I sitting? I would come back into the present moment. And I had no idea that this was really key. Like I said, I wasn't reading any other books. I read about meditation. That was it. I had no spiritual teachers, no nothing. So it was just mind thinking. I would just come back to this moment, mind thinking, come back to here, mind thinking, come back to here. So now I was sitting for 5 minutes twice a day, real simple practice. But I was now was sitting the question now, if I'm not my thoughts, who am I? Just sitting that question, who am I? Just really sitting with that. Then I was sitting for about 3 weeks with that question. Then I heard a voice say, perfect spirit. I'm like, that's it. My spirit is perfect or pure, whatever you wish to call it. It's simply the body and mind that are damaged. Then I had felt this deep, deep sense of peace. I just knew all is well. And all sense of fear about my health were simply gone. I knew it was over that day. I can't explain it. I just knew it was over. And basically that day, my mind got quiet. You can say the intuitive voice really became strong and online. So I just trusted that voice. For whatever reason, I just trusted that voice. It's that perfect spirit. So it would tell me things to do, like do yoga. And at this time, I had no balance. I had no flexibility. But the spirit said, do yoga. So I didn't question it. I signed up and I did yoga. When I began yoga, I would fall over a lot in the beginning. But hey, 6 months later, no more cane. And at this point, I was starting to wean off all my medications. The body was starting to get back into balance, back into harmony. So, like I mentioned earlier, I had a team of 7 doctors. For most of the doctor's appointments, I canceled because I was already, making good progress. So, but I had 3 neurologists, 2 for the MS, 1 for the migraines. So I kept one neurologist. I made one last neurologist appointment. And before I saw him, I got all the tests done. I got the scans, got the blood work, did all this stuff because I was good. I was healthy at this point. So it was about 14 months later of hearing that voice, I was completely healthy. So I got everything done. I went to go see him. He is puzzled. My scans are clean. My blood work is perfect. He does a physical exam and he just sees a non-specific hand tremor that everyone has. Then I was his last appointment of the day. So he questioned me for 45 minutes trying to quantify what I did. He had no answers because I wasn't trying to heal from the mind. I was just following this deeper voice. Oh, I need to drink more water. I need to do yoga. I need to eat less meat. I need to watch less TV. Just these little instructions that were coming. And I wasn't questioning them. It's like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I just followed that intuitive voice. So that's really my story in a nutshell was no spiritual teacher, finding my deeper truth and following that. And that's how I help people today is going beyond the mind's BS, all this nonsense, and really standing in our own power because all of us have our own unique recipe. I can't tell you what's going to work for you.
That's a really powerful story, Baba Sam. I was thinking, what's the words do you use now? And I know we all have, you know, different perspectives and religions and beliefs, but that voice that you have been able to communicate to or get connected to, what would you call that? I sometimes use authentic self or your higher self or being in the flow, uh, soul. What's your best description? I know it's a strange question, but how do you share this with others?
Yeah, it's really depends because there is no right one word. It's for that person, what resonates with you. I will say your vibrant soul because it's illuminating your path forward. If you can just listen and trust that voice, but it can be soul, spirit, consciousness, your authentic self. The higher self, I typically don't use because it gets you looking outside yourself. You think higher, so you look up. And I want to say your inner self or your relaxed self. Because when you're really tuned into you, you feel really relaxed and you know that all is well. There's no state of anxiety, worry, and that state when you're really connected to your deeper essence.
Wow. So who is reaching out to you? Like, I understand now you've come through impossible health challenges for many who get stuck in these diseases, I guess, for decades or even for life. Are you helping people on health or garbage in their head? Like how do they know that they need to look for your content, look for uh, Baba to get support?
Yeah, so my company is beyond head trash, but sometimes I think head trash is too mild. I call it the mind's BS because it's really garbage and it is dangerous. Because I nearly killed myself from it. So it's the mind's BS. It's the negative voice. You know, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. It's the belief systems that we have that are not supportive. Like you're going to be sick for the rest of your life. You know, you're incurable, all these belief systems that we build up. Then if those two elements are very strong, they also create another BS, the blind spot. You can't see what you're not aware of because your mind is clouding that vision. So I really help people empower the chronically ill, empower them to go beyond, to break through the mental BS so they can live a happier and healthier life.
I love that. Uh, and I guess you got hundreds of millions of people out there who need you right now or needed you 5, 10 years ago. What, how do you spend your days? Do you have group sessions or are you helping in a one-on-one setting? Like, tell us what's Baba doing Monday to Sunday?
Well, yeah, I do my own podcast as well. So I'm producing that. That keeps me quite busy, giving the podcast interviews, interviewing people. So that's quite busy. But then I have my group program, the Vibrant Soul Society, where I'm live 3 to 4 times a week, doing different programs, trying to quiet this mind or at least clear it out because there's not one size fits all. I can't say that this is exactly going to work for you or what's exactly going for you. So I have all these different programs to help you find your own recipe. I tell people, I don't know your way. You live in your body. You're the one that knows it best, but not a mental knowing. You could say the heart knowing, the spirit knowing, the soul knowing, the conscious knowing, whatever it is. I'm just here to get you beyond all this stuff so you can find your own recipe, your own way forward. But some abilities have come online after I heal myself, where I'm able to join them in a meditative state or blend or merge with their consciousness and really clear some things out that I cannot explain. Like somebody scheduled an appointment with me because I'm supposed to get knee surgery on my right knee. I really don't want knee surgery. So I did a session with her, and I've only worked with one person to develop my skills, a Peruvian shaman. He taught me how to bring the doctors in from the spiritual realms. So this woman, she says, I'm scheduled for knee surgery. I don't want knee surgery. What can we do? So I'm in this space with her, and this doesn't usually happen, but she's like 60, 70 years old, and I'm saying, do you know this doctor? And it was her childhood doctor. It was an unusual name. I was like, do you know this doctor? He's like, yes. Well, he's making a joke that once a patient, always a patient. And to this day, she doesn't need knee surgery after one session. So I have cases where some people just can't get beyond this, or there's something else. So I have other tools that I can use that I can't explain. I just really wasn't trained in this, but they're just coming. So I do that. And now what's really been coming to me recently is healing timelines. And that's a whole different rabbit hole that I didn't really even train for. There's like, oh, we're going to show you this now. And it just seems the journey just keeps evolving, just more tools for me to help people. Because I work with people and I even offer free soul calls. I may change that too, where I give them a taste of what I do. And most will say they never felt a peace like that before because they're able to get them beyond their mind and into the state of peace. And I've witnessed miracles in these calls as well. Somebody dealing with, chronic leg pain for over a year, the doctors had no answer. After 10 minutes, it's gone. It can happen very quickly, or it can be more like baking a cake in an oven because there's things in the way that have to be cleared out because this BS is really built up over the years. So we have to start peeling away and clearing away those things. Because it's rather interesting. I can take somebody in like a really high pain level, like an 8, 9, 10 pain level, really extreme, and I can get it down to like a 3 or below. Then I know there's a mental component to it. If I get them that low, but the mind does something very interesting. The next day, the mind's like, hey, where did that go? And it will drag it back. So then they'll have that recording that we do in our session. They'll keep playing that to keep burning away that story, those layers that want to keep that ailment in place. I know with my multiple sclerosis, I had all sorts of stories because you're dealing with a cane. People are opening doors for you. You're always tired, so there's no expectations. You can really get wrapped up into these stories that need to go away. So that's where I really help people is just to get rid of those stories. And sometimes, I can't explain these, but sometimes I'm merging, blending with that person, and I'll get flashes, I'll get images. Like, oh, okay, I need to clear this out of the way.
Wow, I love your story. And actually, I know someone who has, yeah, 8, 9 out of 10 pain now. I will probably connect you with her. But what, so what's inspiring you now? Like, have you got, are you setting goals or are you pretty much just living life in this bubble of helping and supporting those in need?
Yeah, what really comes to me when I think of this, I think of the Bhagavad Gita. Focus on the task at the hand, not the fruits of not the fruits. So I'm always focused on this moment, doing my best in this moment. The future will take care of itself.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I did participate on a 3-day training. And I'm not saying it's old school, but they put a lot of emphasis on, oh, you need to set these goals, 3, 6, 12 months, and it doesn't resonate with me. For the last 2 years, I unfold and help those who reach out to me. But what would you say to those, I hate to say teachers, but those coaches and mentors who are adamant about setting specific goals and timelines?
What I can tell you from my own experience. So if you're in the space of always being here in this neutral state, then you can get a drift in the present moment. So I need to visualize people coming to me, having a successful business. I need to give the universe momentum, the direction I want to go. Or if there's no direction, then life doesn't move. So it's really about not necessarily setting goals, but setting intents
Mm.
and not worrying about figuring out how that's going to come to be, just setting the intention and allow the universe to deliver that. It's not one of the things I teach people is stop trying to heal yourself. The trying is all this mental interference. And we want to get the mind out of the way so the body can naturally take care of itself. And then you'll get those insights on what the body needs, like do yoga. And you'll get those insights. The mind's really there to help us take action. I can't get the insight to do yoga and not do yoga. You need that action. So that's what I remind people. You need the action. So the same thing with the goal setting. I wouldn't really set like a hard fixed goal, but you want to set an intention that this is the kind of practice that I want. And these are the kind of people I want to help and serve. And you just hold that space. Like it doesn't have to be a long practice, 2, 3 minutes of just coming back into center, setting those intentions, setting that visualization, and you let it go and continue on with your day. But that's what I was initially finding, and it took me a while to discover this. When I did my healing and I went to help people, I was sitting neutrality. I wasn't giving the universe any direction. So it was a very stagnant place. There was no thing to move because all is well. There's nothing to move. You can get adrift in the present moment. So it's really about setting those intentions and allow the universe to take care of it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful as you have shared it, and it really gave me another way to understand that maybe the people who are so stuck in their old lives, they might and not clear about their life purpose, they might actually need more specifics so they start moving towards something, because a lot of people have no vision or goals or intentions, however we call it. So it does help to some, but I think, and prove me wrong if I'm on the wrong track here, I believe when one unlocks life purpose, how they can contribute and turn that into a way to live, I do agree that yeah, intention and allowing, giving space to things to happen almost by themselves is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can really get in our own way. And one of the most curious things I can find with people that are stuck and life isn't moving, I'll ask them what brings them joy? What do they like to do for fun? They have no answer for that.
Wow.
And when you need to find these things that find you joy, find you happiness, because then you're lining to your life purpose. So if you can't find that joy, that happiness, life is very difficult. So you have to find those things that really light you up where you seem to forget about time. And then you're starting to connect with that deeper essence within you because your spirit is not caught up in the human drama. It's like, here I am, and you're lining up to that. What do you want to create? And that's really about it, that you are the creative energy. And we get into these stories that the power is outside of us. We have to remember that we are the power. The energy that's within you is the energy within our star, the galaxy, the universes. So there is no limitations. And there's a quote that I like from A Course in Miracles. There's no degree in miracles. There's no levels, something is more difficult than another thing. No, it's all same to the universe. Are you willing to be that person that has that desired vision? Are you willing to be that and take those steps?
Yeah, I love that one. um Course in Miracles, I think that should be the course in the schools, not arithmetics and stuff they won't ever need in life. uh, what have I not asked as we are getting to wrapping up this wonderful share and interview. What have I not asked?
Yeah.
That
The only
you,
thing that's yeah, the only thing that's coming to me is somebody's really stuck and doesn't know what to do. What is the first step? The first step for most people is that you're not even aware of the present moment. You're so caught up in the story, the drama, the challenge that you're not really here. And a good example of this, have you ever driven someplace and you have no idea how you got in there? That's the mind is in the story and the subconscious is driving. So you need to bring yourself back into the present moment. And what Eckhart Tolle talks about that I discovered later was the power of now, the power of being in this moment. So I didn't even know this when I was doing my practice, mind thinking, where are my feet? Where are my hands? Where am I sitting? I was going back to the present moment. So we need to understand that we're either in the thoughts or we're aware of this moment. So, everyone that's listening today, are you aware that you're sitting right now, that you are indeed listening? Where are your hands? What's around you? And just engaging this present moment, because in the present moment is where all your power resides. When you're lost in thoughts, you are weaker and lost in thoughts, you'll have a poor immune system and be more likely to get sick. But if you keep yourself here, you keep in your strength, you stay in your power, and you're more likely to do what's best for you as opposed to the mind dictating what it thinks is best for you.
thank you for sharing that. Last question. What is the easiest way to get in touch with you and to find out more about?
Yes, yeah, my website is beyondheadtrash.com and all my links are there. But now that I'm looking back at it, head trash is too mild. It's really mental BS. It's the mind's BS that we need to get out of because it is harmful. It is dangerous. It's creating all sorts of chaos in your life might not even be aware of. You could be chronically sick, chronically poor, horrible relationships. 1,001 things can be related to the mind's BS. So it really should be beyond the mind's BS. But right now it's beyond head trash because it's garbage. We need to throw it out. But I think it needs to be a little stronger. It's really a dangerous thing. And just one thought, one bad thought will ruin your day. And for some, it will take their life.
Wow. Baba Sam, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And I want to share this video, this wonderful interview with millions because I think it will serve them to wake up and to start living their life, taking charge. That's what has come to me. Taking charge of your mind, taking charge of your life. Any last words?
No, Andre, I really enjoyed talking with you and sharing my story and getting this message out there that you're doing important work. I know you're the doctor of self-worth, and they don't have any self-worth because of the mind's BS.
Thanks very much. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.